Welcome to lecture 17. This will be the last lecture of this module where we'll be learning about the last part of warehouse layout and design. In this lecture, we will first look at some of the basic elements of warehouse design and then some special elements of warehouse design. Let's start with some of the basic warehouse design elements found in every warehouse. A stable electric power grid supplying constant electric power to a warehouse is a basic requirement that cannot be taken for granted, especially in developing countries. Almost all parts of the warehouse require electricity to function, ranging from reach trucks to automated guided vehicles to computers and even the ventilation fans in the toilets. Even with a stable electric power grid in the country, a poorly designed power distribution system can cause disruptions to the warehouse operations. In countries where a stable power supply is not assured of, it is common for warehouses to have one or more backup generators on site, such that in the event of a power failure, the warehouse can continue to operate. In a traditional warehouse, IT and telecommunications equipment would have just consisted of computers, printers, telephones, and fax machines. In the modern warehouse, IT and telecommunications has become a key success factor. Internal communications and external communications with suppliers and customers depend on email. Customers book shipments using online shipment booking systems and track their shipments using online track and trace systems. Procurement, operations, sales and finance use warehouse management systems or WMS and the enterprise resource planning or ERP systems. Companies rely on electronic data interchange or EDI to exchange information with their customers in real time. There may be dedicated servers and routers on site, or there might be shared servers and routers at a main company location or provided by an external service provider. Ventilation and temperature control in a warehouse are some of the most important factors in a warehouse design. This needs to be considered from both the perspectives of the human workers as well as the products and can be challenging in countries with seasonal weather fluctuations. From the perspective of the human workers in a warehouse, adequate ventilation is required for humans to exist. They need oxygen to breathe. Optimal temperature is required for humans to function well, and this is generally between 15 to 25 degrees. Optimal relative humidity is also required for humans to function well. This is generally between 45 to 55%. Of course, tolerances may differ widely depending on which part of the globe one is located. From the perspective of the products in the warehouse, there is a wide range of temperature requirements. Most food products have to be stored at specific temperatures. Frozen meats and seafood at -28, dairy products at 4 degrees. Drugs have a diverse range of temperature requirements too. Vaccines must be kept frozen at -20. Some drugs are kept in the chiller at 2 to 8. Some drugs are stored at 15 to 25. Even beauty products such as makeup, skincare, and perfumes have specific temperatures to ensure usability. Similarly, industrial products such as spare parts for cars and planes have specific temperature requirements to avoid deterioration of metallic, rubber, and plastic components. For different locations, different elements of heating, ventilation, and air conditioning may be required. In some locations, more than one element is required to cope with different seasons. For cooling, industrial air conditioners are used to maintain the required temperatures. For countries with extreme cold winter conditions, industrial heaters are necessary to maintain warehouse temperatures to provide an optimum working environment for the people, even though the products do not require special temperatures. In some cases, when the warehouse does not need any special temperature control, there might still be industrial fans to provide adequate ventilation. This can be in the form of portable fans moved around to where workers are concentrated or ceiling mounted to provide ventilation over a general area. For areas with exceptionally high or low relative humidity, additional dehumidifiers or humidifiers are necessary to extract moisture or inject moisture into the air. This is for the purpose of protecting products or maintaining that optimal working condition for workers. There are many different tasks being carried out in a warehouse which require different levels of lighting. Basic overhead lighting is essential for safe and efficient movement of workers and MHE at the dock, storage aisles, and along the corridors. Task lighting may be needed for workstations, example, workers doing inbound quality checks, or workers packing goods or tallying shipping documents. Supplemental portable lighting may be required for activities in a confined space, such as when workers are unstuffing a container. The warehouse can be a place fraught with hazards due to a constant flow of people, MHE, and cargo. To mitigate the risk in a busy warehouse, floor markings have become an essential component of a well-designed warehouse. They are either painted or taped onto the floor to guide people moving around a facility safely. Most occupational health and safety standards state that clear floor markings are required to demarcate various work areas, but are not specific as to the color codes. There are, however, some generally accepted guidelines. Yellow is used to mark aisleways, traffic lanes, and staging areas. White is used to mark warehouse workstations, such as an inbound inspection station and a packing station. Orange is used to mark quarantine areas or return inspections areas. Red is used to mark areas under window designated for firefighting access and fire protection equipment such as fire extinguishers. Yellow and black stripes are used to mark areas with hazardous equipment, including MHE charging areas where high voltage chargers may be in use. These are some examples of line markings found in a warehouse. Yellow walkways for workers, yellow squares for a pallet staging area, and black and yellow lines to mark out the location of hazardous equipment. Clear and prominently displayed signages in and around a warehouse help to mitigate the risk found in a busy warehouse. For example, a warehouse storing dangerous chemicals will certainly have signages everywhere advising against smoking, since there are flammable chemicals which might catch fire. Signages stating that there's a requirement to wear helmets or watch out for forklifts help to remind workers to be aware of safety in their working environment. In addition, signages stating a function of each area is a form of visual management to improve the efficiency of the warehouse, and storage areas need our labels to guide workers as to how to put away and retrieve cargo. Depending on the type of cargo and specific customer requirement, different security measures may be implemented at a warehouse. Basic security measures can be just uniformed security guards stationed at all entrances and exits. An array of closed-circuit TV or CCTV cameras can be installed at various locations both inside and outside the warehouse. These are usually sufficient for most warehouses. More advanced security measures are required for warehouses storing high-value items such as semiconductors and popular consumer goods such as mobile devices. These warehouses may have fixed or portable metal detectors, X-ray scanners, and even motion sensors to safeguard their products. In Singapore, the Fire Code, governed by SCDF, spells out the minimum fire safety requirements for each type of premises. There are generally two types of fire protection, passive and active. Passive fire protection refers to firewalls and fire-rated floor assemblies to limit the spread of fire, high temperatures, and smoke. Active fire protection refers to manual or automatic detection and suppression of fires, such as fire sprinklers and fire alarm systems. Depending on the type of cargo and specific customer requirements, specific fire suppression systems may be implemented at a warehouse. For example, a warehouse storing dangerous flammable chemicals will be equipped with dry powder or foam or carbon dioxide fire extinguishers. A warehouse storing wood, paper, or textile products will most likely have water or wet chemical fire extinguishers. That concludes the section of basic warehouse design elements. Now let's look at some of the special warehouse design elements. Many industries have special requirements which have to be factored into their warehousing layout and design. This includes stringent security, fire protection, environmental protection, cleanliness, temperature control, and even light protection. In the healthcare industry, products include medicines for human consumption and medical devices for use with human beings. As such, quality assurance is an integral part of the industry. There are various quality management standards and country-specific legislation and regulations which directly impact on the warehousing requirements. Some examples of these are the Good Manufacturing Practice, GMP, Good Distribution Practice, GDP, or the ISO 13485 standards. There are two key aspects which healthcare warehousing often focus on: temperature control and cleanliness. The temperature requirements in a healthcare warehouse can range from controlled ambient at 15 to 25 degrees to deep freeze at -70 degrees. The different temperature requirements can only be met by building warehouses cooled to the right temperatures using powerful industrial air conditioners. If a warehouse requires multiple temperature zones, rooms or compartments are built to segregate products accordingly. Backup generators or uninterruptible power supply UPS units have to be installed to protect against loss and damage due to sudden power failure. There must also be monitoring systems in place to ensure that temperature requirements are consistently met. This can be manual systems involving temperature logging devices or sophisticated wireless systems providing real-time alerts when non-compliant temperatures are detected. Standards of cleanliness can be very demanding in a healthcare warehouse. Professional cleaners are usually hired to perform daily cleaning, such as sweeping, mopping, and wipe down of all work surfaces and storage areas. Pest control companies are engaged to protect the warehouse against flies, insects, birds, snakes, rats, and even cats and dogs. For warehouses dealing with repackaging of drugs, special repackaging rooms are required where special air filters are installed and staff put on additional protective clothing to avoid contamination of products that they handle. Due to the inherent dangers of dealing with chemicals, the chemical industry is tightly regulated by legislation and regulations in most countries. This directly impacts the warehousing requirements. In Singapore, the storage and distribution of chemicals is tightly regulated by various government agencies. The Singapore Civil Defence Force, or SCDF, controls petroleum and other flammable materials. Warehouses storing these products will require extensive fire protection systems to be in place. The National Environment Agency, or NEA, controls hazardous substances which are environmental pollutants. Warehouses storing these products will require underground sumps to contain potential leakages, spill kits, decontamination stations, and special personal protection equipment. The Central Narcotics Bureau, or CNB, controls chemical precursors which can be used in the manufacture of illegal drugs. Warehouses storing these products need to install lock and secure cages to minimize risk of loss. Finally, the Singapore Police Force, or SPF, controls explosive chemicals. Warehouses storing these products also need to install lock and secure cages to minimize the risk of loss. Fine wines or investment-grade wines must be aged to achieve peak quality. They appreciate in value as they mature and improve. These wines need to be stored in specially designed warehouses which provide the optimum environment for long-term storage, which protects their quality and hence value. First and most importantly, the warehouse needs to maintain a constant and stable temperature of 11 to 14 degrees. The relative humidity has to be between 60 to 80%. The warehouse has to be well ventilated and odor-free, which means the wines cannot be stored together with certain products, such as paints, since volatile chemicals can get into the wine bottle through the porous cork. As excessive light causes wine to deteriorate, fine wines are stored in near darkness conditions, with dim lights being used only during picking and put away. As a single bottle can cost up to a few $100,000, security is a major consideration as the products need to be protected from loss or damage due to pilferage. A semiconductor is a type of material found in almost all appliances and gadgets, such as smartphones, tablets, computers, televisions, cars, and even aircraft. With the growth of smart devices globally, the semiconductor industry has been growing steadily for the last few decades and was valued at USD 481 billion in 2018. Due to the high value of semiconductor products, the warehouses are usually high security facilities which conform to TAPA standards for storage of high-value products. As semiconductor products are highly sensitive to heat and dust, the warehouses are always equipped with clean rooms which are used to carry out testing, assembly, and repackaging processes. These clean rooms are fitted with appropriate heating, ventilation, and air conditioning systems, high-efficiency particulate air filters that maintain the correct pressurization, temperature, humidity, and airflow, and air showers in special chambers located between the clean room and the outside environment. With that, we have come to the end of the entire LO lecture series. Hope you have had a fantastic learning journey this semester.